Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 2, Spurs 2, and it's the same old rubbish from Manchester United, I have to admit. Get your thoughts in as we unpack what was a remarkable game with so many things going on, but so many twists and turns, so many contradictions, I suppose, but then so many familiarities as well. Look, United are shit at defending crosses. Yeah. United are shit at picking up midfield runners. Yeah. United are crap at starting second halves. Yeah. I mean, we've literally just gone... I mean, as I said on the watch-along, Ange could have took the week off and said, target them on crosses, run away from midfielders, and let's really go for them at the start of the second half. And you know, Spurs would have got what they got. We're so predictably naive, and it's incredible that we're into January and we're still doing these things. On positives, get your player ratings in. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being your average. To start on two positives, I felt when Martinez came on, we were a lot better defensively. And I also think Rasmus, with a goal and an assist, has to be a strong man-of-the-match contender. But what I would say is, even in a positive, let me just say, Rasmus scored a great goal. It was his only shot in the game. That was the only chance in the game. And there ended the lesson again. Where is the service from Rashford and Garnacho again? You've got a striker who ends up having a shot because Rashford tried to have a shot and it fell to Højlund. That zero service for Rasmus Højlund again. If he didn't score that goal, people would be saying, oh, you know, he's not doing enough. He's not doing enough. I love it when he does it, but then you can still call out the negative. Zero service for Rasmus. Zero service for Rasmus again. Plenty of opportunities where he could have got service, but people want to take people on and shoot and not see the pass. So, look, Rasmus did get a goal and an assist, and it's incredible, isn't it? He's the only player in the fucking team that when he receives the ball is looking to play a pass back. So, no mention of Bruno. Mate, I've been live for about 2 minutes. Take a fucking chill pill. We've got another half an hour. We're going to do player ratings. We'll be talking about Bruno then. Who, look, yeah, I mean, another performance. I mean, I'm interested to see what you think on the player ratings around the likes of Bruno and Rashford, because Rashford scored a goal. And Rashford was there going like that, apparently. Keep talking. Has he silenced everybody? Is he right? I'll have to think about that one. Look, as well, you've got to talk about Ten Hag to start off with as well. But let me just summarise this for you. In a game where we drew 2-2 at Old Trafford, in a game that we needed to win, we are now 8 points behind Spurs in 5th place. 8 points is a lot in this league. It's a competitive league. We're 8 points behind Spurs. That was an opportunity today. We never looked like we were going to take it. Spurs were the better team, yeah? Did we ever look like we were hungry to beat a team and push for top 4 or 5 or 6? Did we? Bollocks. 64% possession at Old Trafford for Spurs. 16 shots to our 8. 6 on shot target to our 2. 13 corners to our 8. 530 passes to our 295. 89% pass accuracy to our 76. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. They've played nearly double the amount of passes we've played. Their pass accuracy is 89% to 76% at Old Trafford. They've had more corners. They've had more shots. They've had more possession. Look, something is fundamentally wrong at Manchester United, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe needs to fucking watch it and figure it out. If he can't see that we don't have the players to play good football, then, you know, by all means, sack the manager. But if you're going to sack the manager, you need to get rid of some of these players, because Ranić couldn't do it. Mourinho couldn't do it. Ollie couldn't do it, and Ten Hag can't do it. He can't get these players to play football. He can't do it. So if you're Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, stop painting shit or putting a plaster on an open wound and get rid of some of these players, because they just can't do it. That Spurs team is their B team. There's no Kulusevski. There's no Son. There's no Maddison. There's no Sarr. There's no Bissouma. Basically, their front 5 players would start weren't there. And we've still been dominated at Old Trafford. It's embarrassing. And you know what? Who've we got to come in Who have we got to come back? Spurs have got Son, Kulusevski, Maddison, Bissouma, Sarr, off the top of my head. They might have even more. We've got nobody to come back. We've got nobody to come back. We've got Casemiro, who didn't get 1 minute because Ten Hag thought bringing McTominay on was the answer. McTominay, who is a complete waste of space and has been proven to be a waste of space unless he scores a goal, who misses a sitter in the last minute. So, you know, that was the story of the game, really, for me. I came into this game with so much excitement because I was like, this is the game where we'll turn it on. They're playing in front of Sir Jim Radcliffe. They're playing at Old Trafford. We need to kickstart the season. They're going to turn it on. And by the 70th minute, I was like, if we get a draw out of this, it's probably not a bad result. In the second half, attacking the Stretford end, we were embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. The only positive was that when Martinez came on, we looked a little bit more solid defensively. But apart from that, the whole performance was just an embarrassment in the second half. From being 2-1 up at half time to 2-2 within seconds, there was no urgency. There was no desire. And when it went to 2-2, we just fell into the same old tactic of, I mean, I said it in the preview. This is the perfect game for us. Yes, we're probably going to give up a bit of possession, but they play a high line. We can't play against a team that, you know, sits deep and gets people behind the ball. We can play against teams who play a high line. So you expect Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho to really shine in this game. And all we had in the second half was a diagonal to Rashford. Oh, diagonal to Rashford, diagonal to Rashford. And Porro had him in his pocket in the second half. I know he scored in the first half because he passed, but Porro had him in his pocket in the second half. And actually, the amount of times that Rashford wasn't tracking him back, I'm surprised we didn't concede more. I don't know, and I don't blame Rashford for that. I don't know what Ten Hag is thinking in 2024, allowing us to have a winger that doesn't track back. It's incredible. I saw Sir Alex did this in 2007. He wasn't bothered about Ronaldo tracking back. 17 years ago, we had a winger that was one of the world's best wingers that you could get away with saying you don't need to track back. Son at Spurs is a better winger than Rashford. Salah's one of the best wingers in the world. Saka at Arsenal. They all track back and work hard. Why are we carrying wingers that don't have to track back? It's what we're doing it for, to save energy for them to attack. Like, I'm not even blaming Rashford for that. That's Ten Hag. Why are you picking a winger and then saying, let Pedro Porro, one of the best attacking fullbacks in the Premier League this season, just leave him. Leave him. Somebody will find him. Somebody will pick him up. It's incredible. But look, it's the same old rubbish. That's what it says in the title. It's the same old rubbish from United. And the substitutions were poor. Apart from Martinez, I thought they were poor. It made us better having Martinez on the pitch. The McTominay for Eriksen sub would be absolutely fine if you didn't have Casemiro on the bench. But, I mean, I don't know why Casemiro didn't come on for Eriksen and then just put Mainu in the 8. I don't know why we didn't do that. And, you know, as soon as McTominay came on, and I know he could have won it at the end, but as soon as he came on, my best thought was maybe we can get a draw. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Incredible. Incredible, really. But look, the same thing applies here. There will be people saying get rid of the manager. It's a draw. We're not going to sack the manager for a draw. So you're wasting your energy. But my same thing applies, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Regardless of what you think about Ten Hag, is there anybody in this fan base that actually still naively thinks that if you sack the manager, those players will suddenly turn into Man City or suddenly turn into Brighton or suddenly turn into Spurs? If we've learnt one thing this season, I hope that we've learnt that these players just aren't good enough. Mentally or talent-wise, they're just not good enough. They're probably on the level of Wolves, Everton. You know, they're not as good as Brighton. They're definitely not as good as Spurs. They're not as good as Aston Villa. I know we beat Aston Villa, but we beat Aston Villa in a very weird circumstance where they were 2-0 and for some reason imploded. The players are just not good enough. We will be better with Luke Shaw back at left back. Of course we will. And I hope that he starts picking Casemiro because I think we'll be better then. But there's a fundamental problem in the creative stage of the game. It's the same problem we've always had. And you've got to look at Bruno. And you've got to look at Garnacho. And you've got to look at Rashford. I mean, Garnacho's a little bit different. I think Udogie dominated Garnacho today. It was, as somebody said in the watch-along, it was men against boys. Udogie, I actually thought he was a bit overrated. But watching him today, he really did subdue probably our player of the season. So Garnacho's a little bit different because I think he was dominated by Udogie. But you look at Bruno and you look at Rashford, and there's so much space out there. Like, more space than you're going to get against Brentford, more space than you're going to get against Everton. There's so much space for Bruno and Rashford. And to waste it as regularly as they did at this level, I don't know why he didn't think about taking Bruno off and putting Eriksen at 10. I don't know why he didn't think about taking Rashford off with 20 minutes to go and putting Anthony on. I don't know why he doesn't think of these things, because for me, there was an air of inevitability that Spurs would score. And if Spurs had scored, he'd have to do that sub anyway. It's almost like he's scared to do it. I don't know. But it's the same old problem. It's the same old problem. I don't want to have the debate about whether you sell Rashford or Bruno or whatever. But you certainly have to wake up to the fact that they're consistently inconsistent. But what they are consistent at is wasting opportunities where, you know, if you had an Odegaard type or you had a Son type. I mean, Son's a brilliant player for Spurs. We haven't seen him today. He's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant finisher. And in a sense, Son's finishing and Rashford's finishing, at their best, they're probably quite equal. But what Son does so well, and Salah and Saka, is that they understand the creative side of the game. They understand when to shoot, when to pass. And we just don't get that from Rashford. And the same with Bruno. I've got to start talking about this. As a number 10, if you compare Bruno to Kevin De Bruyne or Odegaard, and people will start talking about, but Bruno statistically creates more chances than anyone. But I've already said to you about this. I spoke to you about this in the week. I read a website where Bruno apparently created 6 chances against Bournemouth. I can't fucking find them. I found McTominay easier than I found that. I can't find these chances he creates. I don't know how the stats generated, because I genuinely am looking at it now, and I know it's very easy because we haven't got the money to do it. But if you replaced Rashford with Son or Anthony Gordon or someone like that, and you replace Bruno with an Odegaard or a De Bruyne or a Maddison, we'd be a much better team. We've got to start having that conversation. It's not that they're bad players. They're just really selfish players. They don't see the percentage pass. They see the glory pass or the glory shot. And it breaks down. As I said before, Rasmus Højlund's had 1 shot today. 1 shot in the whole game. You've got people like Roy Keane having a pop at him before the game. There's 0 service, Roy. There's 0 service. It's not good enough. Let me just catch up on some of your chat. Make sure you smash a like on the video and please do subscribe. Pass says, we slandered De Gea for not claiming crosses, but Onana is doing nothing better. Our midfield was also invisible. We were dominated in midfield, you're right. I'm Ten Hag in, but at what point do you say out, says Yell. Well, yeah, good point. I'm not going to swerve it. But what I will say is that, you know, he's not going to get the sack at the moment, and he shouldn't get the sack at the moment. But is he the man? I'm looking more at Ineos and Sir Jim now, because I know if I'm in charge, I've got to get rid of these players. I've got to get rid of these players. They've had years. Some of them have had years, and they're never going to stop being inconsistent. And, you know, every now and again, they might score some goals or get some assists for a couple of months, but they're not going to do it consistently. So I think that, you know, the big thing is not really the manager. It's the attitude to remove the players. And if we don't remove these players, we'll be having this conversation in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We've seen enough now. We know enough now that some of these players have gone way past too many chances, and it's about making the change. Have you had a worse goalkeeper than Onana in your history, says Kia? Sacking the manager is the not right thing to do, but Erik Ten Hag is tightening the noose around his neck, says Martin. I can't tell you why Casemiro was on the bench today but didn't play a minute. If a player's fit enough to be on the bench, they're fit enough to play. And what manager in history doesn't bring Casemiro on in a game like that? The way Sancho played for Dortmund after coming on as a sub would have helped us. No, Julian, absolutely not. Another performance where United leave you feeling dead inside. Dominated at home by Spurs, third team. Erik Ten Hag will say it was good, no doubt, says Elv. He'll say we're unlucky. He'll say Scotty at the end could have won it. It's unlucky. Even Freddie Lundberg said on Swedish TV that United need open heart surgery, and he admitted that he hates United, but it's sad how they are now, says Nicholas. These players have been shit all season and haven't once shown they can do better, not in a single game. No passing and poor possession. Says Manchild. Erik Ten Hag choosing McTominay over Casemiro is unforgivable, says Tom. Mark still taking all accountability off Ten Hag. No, Peter, you just don't listen. Embarrassing. Why does he bring Anthony on and McCrap on? It's Ten Hag, same silly stuff, says Blanco. Fair play to Spurs, says Bobby. Missing key players, but there were still clear and effective patterns of play. KFJ says stop putting Bruno in the same category as Rashford. Bruno is miles better, and I don't know why Bruno has to always take the blame for the team's performance. I bet, did he have a good game? That's Champions League gone, says Ewan. Ange, without 5 of his best and creative players, outplayed Ten Hag at Old Trafford, says Sherlock Holmes. Can anyone on this planet really explain how Scott keeps getting a chance after chance and Palestri and Mabry are getting sold? I can't speak, says Sakin. I'm glad McTominay missed it at the end, says Pete. I was struggling to figure out who we had sent off. At least it was right under the owner's nose, says Pete. Flapping Duck says, we can't play any other style of football with the players we have. I don't know how any competent human being can blame Ten Hag for playing this way. Give him time. Throws games when he puts on McGhost, says MUFC Music. And Lee, welcome to the members club. You don't need to look further than Eriksen to replace Bruno. Would make team and the more stable. Look, we've never tried. I don't think we've ever. I mean, is Eriksen becoming the new Juan Mata? I don't think. We bought Juan Mata as one of the best, number 10s in Europe, and we never played him there. Christian Eriksen, before he came to Man United, if somebody said to me, where does Christian Eriksen play? I'd say number 10, and we never play him there. So, again, I just don't get it. I almost feel like Eriksen gets criticised as a number 8, quite rightly, and he didn't pick up the run of Bantanka at all. But I don't think he is a number 8. I've never thought he was a number 8. We've got a number 10 who can't look after the ball, and then you've got Christian Eriksen, who is a number 10. Even Mason Mount might be worth a go. Maybe that's the chance for Mason Mount, but he'll probably play Mason Mount and Bruno with Casemiro and get the fucking sack because he'll keep losing the midfield runners. I'm just watching the Bentancur goal here. I don't blame Onana on this one. I know some people do. They're just... Yeah, well, I mean, it's very clear to see Mainoo's left on his own again, isn't he? It's been happening all season. Mainoo's got 2 midfielders on his own. Eriksen and Bruno are too high. I mean, they're highlighting it on Sky, but we've seen this. So we don't need to see this. As a community, we don't need to be shown this. This isn't breaking tactical news. This is something we've been talking about all season. Kobe Mainoo or Casemiro or whoever plays holding midfielder left overrunning the midfield. It's something we've been talking about for bloody ages. We know it. We know that. Zebra says that Onana is an easy scapegoat. Well, he is an easy scapegoat when he's so shit. I agree, yeah. Absolutely agree. Yeah, we're out of Europe because of him, mate. Are you not going to acknowledge that? Do you not think he should be coming for crosses? Do you think it's okay as a Man United goalkeeper to just stand there on your line and, hope? I'd love to see how close this shot is to Onana here. Let's have a look. So Werner plays the assist. Here it is. Yeah, he should save that. I think he could do better on that. It's near his head. No, and actually I don't think he should. I'm not blaming him on that one. I know some people do, but I'm not going to blame him on that one. Where in the hell is Mount, says Andrew Kelly. The subs make me think Ten Hag is the right manager, says Noah. And hopefully Jim can change the narrative, but I'm not hopeful, says Crow. Bruno kept scolding players, but he's not keen, says Alif. And watched Binder in the Euro qualifiers and he was class. How doesn't he get a chance, says Jack. Thank you very much. Look, let's do the player ratings here, because that will take us into the next stage of the show. So... What do we got? We've got Onana first, haven't we? I don't know why it's not on the screen. Let me... what am I doing here? I've completely and utterly lost it. Match web frame properties. Oh no, I know what I'm doing. I'm a prat. What? Why is it not showing on the screen here? Oh, what am I doing? You're an idiot. I'm like United at the moment. Oh, I know what I'm doing now. There we go. We got him back. So, Onana today. I'll probably give him a 5. Yeah, 4.4. I'll probably give him a 5. He didn't actually make any good saves, did he? Distribution in the first 15 minutes was okay, and then that high line disappeared, didn't it? I just think, look, I have to hold my hands up and say that, yeah, I've defended De Gea for this, but De Gea had money in the bank. De Gea won Player of the Year numerous times. De Gea made save after save after save. David De Gea earned his stripes as a Man United goalkeeper. This is a goalkeeper that I'm running out of patience with. You know, we're out of Europe because of him. He makes weird decisions, and then he's also a goalkeeper that doesn't want to come for crosses. So, look, a lot of people criticised De Gea for this, and we got rid of De Gea. So where's is it not hypocrisy? I mean, I had people on Twitter saying, yeah, but you used to stick up for De Gea because he didn't come for crosses. But De Gea's better than Onana. Like, he proved that in a United shirt. Onana's made mistake after mistake after mistake this season, and now he's standing on his goal line for crosses. I mean, it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem. So 5 out of 10 for me, below average, not good enough. I'm sorry. And can I just remind people, this is a guy that didn't go to the AFCON to play today. Did we benefit from that? Did we bollocks? And a lot of us said this. What's the point? What is the point in him not going to the AFCON? Like, did we get a result today because Onana stayed an extra bit of time? No, we didn't. He should have gone. And again, that rests on the shoulders of Ten Hag, who's bought a goalkeeper in called Binder and hasn't played him for 1 minute, and is keeping a goalkeeper from going to the AFCON instead of giving that guy time. It's not good enough. Delo today, I'd probably give him a 6. I understand the 5.5. I actually think Werner had a good game for Spurs, and I think he gave Delo problems. I'd describe Delo today as last-ditch defending. Last-ditch defending. There was a lot of that. And I would say in the battle between Werner and Delo, I think Werner just about shaded it. Varane, I'd probably give Varane a 6 today. Yeah, I don't think Varane did anything wrong. Certainly can't think of anything that he's done wrong. The 2 crosses into the box, it's not his man. The Bantanka goal, that's on Evans. So, yeah, I think it was a steady 6 from Varane. A lot of people saying that Delo was a 6.5. Well, you see the game how you see it. I like Delo, but, you know, in the first half when he was going like that at the Stretford end, he completely and utterly fucked up. Like, Werner had a shot at goal, and he's going like that because Werner missed. Close the space. It's not good defending. Like, I like Delo, but I said this morning. The sooner the better this fan base stops fanboying on players and starts calling out bad performances. Like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, and that's why when Rashford scores, he's probably going like that because he thinks scoring 1 goal in the first half against Spurs is shutting you all up. Like, we're not a pantomime. Go and score a hat-trick and win the game, and then do it again. And then maybe, just maybe, you might want to goad your fans by going like that. But not after 1 goal. It's not, you know, we've got to start demanding better standards. It's not hate, it's not agenda, it's being a Man United fan and demanding more. It's as simple as that. I don't know where all this fan club bollocks comes from. We're Manchester United. Do you think that was good enough today? I don't think it was good enough. Johnny Evans probably had his worst game for United today. Had a big part to play in the first goal, but I think, you know, he's static like a bag of cement on the second goal. And it's not like he's being run up by Haaland. It's Bentanka. So 5.5 for me. Wan-Bissaka would give him a 6. I actually felt that Wan-Bissaka against Brennan Johnson, I would say Wan-Bissaka didn't lose that battle. He had an early yellow card as well. I don't know why he was at left back, probably for pace issues. And I actually think Wan-Bissaka going forward offers absolutely nothing, as we know, especially as an overlapping left back. But I thought defensively he did quite well against Brennan Johnson and kept him relatively quiet. So I would give him that one. Kobe Mainu, today probably a 6. Yeah, very, very quiet in the first half. I felt he came into the game more when he's allowed to go forward, which is the big thing we're constantly talking about. When are we going to see Casemiro and Mainu? And why are we still seeing Scott McTominay? I mean, look, maybe Ten Hag's going to come out and say Casemiro wasn't fit enough to play any minutes. Well, what the fuck's he doing on the bench then? I don't understand that. But I felt that when Martinez came on, we looked better. And if we can get that with Casemiro in the midfield, maybe there's some hope for the second half of the season, but not for top four. I think it disappeared today. Eriksen wasn't good today, 5. Yeah, he wasn't good today. There's not a lot to say about that. He lost the runner. I don't think he's a number 8. I've said this before. I think against the better teams, he gets exploited because of physicality and lack of speed. We saw that last season. We saw it against today. Against the better teams, we do get overrun. Bruno today has to be a 5 for me. We started the game brightly and Bruno started the game brightly, but we fell into old habits. Old habits die hard. It's really very simple to summarize Bruno's games. There are moments of brilliance and there are moments of frustration. And then it's combined with what position does he actually play in? Because he's right back, he's left back, he's centre back, he's right wing, he's left wing. There's no positional discipline with Bruno because he's given the role to free roam. But actually, how are you ever going to play like Spurs or any other team that have patterns of play when as a player, if I was playing in the midfield and I'm playing with Odegaard, I know where he's going to be. If I'm playing with James Maddison, I know where he's going to be. As a midfielder, and Scholes said this a few weeks ago, as a midfielder, I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. I can't believe how poor Rashford was. We need a winger who can provide service, says Ruben. Honestly, I think Casemiro was on the bench for not being toxic in the dressing room and a better presence than the other toxic players, says Liam. Rashford, both on and off the ball, doesn't even look like a professional footballer, says Carl. Cut, thank you very much. Rashford never exchanged the ball with Wan-Bissaka up front today, says Frederick. Vangan has just gifted a membership. It's funny how you never criticise Bruno but don't even commend McTominay. I mean, United for life. I don't know what to say. I don't remember the last time I gave Bruno a good score, so I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I detest the fanboying in this football club now, and I certainly don't do it. You just don't watch the show. I don't know what you're talking about. Players aren't good enough. Ten Hag is a good manager, says Hala. And what's your thoughts on Wan-Bissaka? I think he played well. I thought he did okay. Yeah, I do. Some people aren't happy with my Delow score, but I think Werner got the better of him. That's what I saw. So there you go. Garnacho, yeah, I think Garnacho struggled, 5.5. I think I don't think Garnacho was wasteful. I just think Udogie dominated him. One Puggy says, yeah, you fanboy Rasmus. Yeah, I do actually. Goal and assist. I'll give him a 7 and man of the match. Yeah, I'm fanboying a guy who gets shit all the time and doesn't get any patience, who got a goal and an assist. Yeah, I'm fanboying him. Yeah, really am. Man of the match. There we go. It's totally unjustified. Rashford today, I'm really going to struggle with this one. I'm really going to struggle with Rashford. I don't know. I don't know what to give Rashford. He scored a goal. He thinks it's good enough. I mean, maybe I should give him a 7. You know, Rashford thinks it's good enough. You know, keep talking. I've scored a goal. I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, we wonder why we are where we are in the league, and we wonder why we are in a game like that. And it's simply because the mentality of the players in that football club is abysmal. Like, you've had a bad season, you score 1 goal, and your first thought is to tell people to keep talking. Just acknowledge. All we're asking for is to take accountability. You've not been good enough this season. People want you to be good enough. Get your head down and be consistent and do it more and more and more. And, you know, I'm surprised he didn't lift his shirt up and say, sit down, haters. It's like, it's just, Mo Salah's not going to do that. If Mo Salah's had a bad 5 months and he scores 1 goal, he's not going to start doing that to Anfield. He's not going to do it. We've got to remove this. And you know, the great thing about Rashford today is that he actually passed the ball. Rasmus gave it him back and he gets an easier chance. I've been saying this for fucking years. If Rashford stopped shooting all the time and passed and moved, he'll get a better chance. That goal today should be played back to him 100 times tomorrow with the message, if you pass instead of shooting, you'll get a better chance. But we don't learn, because in the second half, he could have played McTominay in, he could have played Garnacho in, he could have played Rasmus in, and he kept running into blind avenues again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And, you know, it's incredible that he does the pass, he gets the goal, it's a great goal, and then we go back to doing what we were doing for the last few months again. I don't know. I'm going to give a generous 6 maybe to Rashford, because he did get a goal, and I hope that he can learn from the pass and the shot. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm going to get a load of shit for giving that, but there you go. I'm looking on the positive. You look at the likes of Foden and Doku, who constantly look to cross and provide their striker. Rashford needs to see how other wingers play, so sacking. I think we give Bruno too much of a hard time. He's the only player we have that can complete a forward pass, says Fishcake. McTominay is only good with pulling his socks up and giving out fouls, says Glenn. Old habits are called coaching. Eric Ten Hag out, says the Baltimore. But they're not old habits to do with Ten Hag, though, are they? This happened with Rangnick. This happened with Ollie. We're not playing any different to Ollie. This is Ollie ball, if you want to call it. You could even call it Mourinho ball. It's what Rangnick had to do instead of playing the style of football he invented. This style of football is not residing on the shoulders of Eric Ten Hag. It resides on the shoulders of players that just can't fucking play the football that modern teams play. They just can't do it. They just can't play the modern style of football. And now we can't even counter-attack well. 5 for McTominay. I mean, it's not his fault he came on, but that's a sitter at the end. I mean, the one thing that McTominay does is score goals in the penalty box. And if he doesn't do that, well, we know, don't we? We saw it. Martinez, I actually thought 6. Yes, I thought he came on and was a positive. Definitely was a positive. And Anthony, I mean, fuck knows, really. I have to give him a 6, because to give him a 5 is unfair. I mean, you know, it's only on for 2 minutes. Ten Hag, 5 for me. The McTominay substitution's ridiculous. I'd love to know why Casemiro was on the bench. I think he should have made Garnacho or Rashford subs earlier and given Pellistri and Anthony a go. Rashford was clearly running out of steam, and Garnacho was getting nothing out of a doggy. So those 2 substitutions should have happened a lot sooner. As I said, the McTominay sub was bad. The second half was embarrassing. You know, coming out lazy has to be reflexive on the manager. You know, you've just spent 10 minutes talking to your team and then they concede again. How many times in the second half do we come out asleep? You know, I don't know what he's got to do. Maybe get the hose on them. Spray them with a hose. Wake them up. But it keeps happening all the time. So, look, I don't want Ten Hag to be sacked. I want Casemiro back in the midfield. I want to try and salvage something from the season, but it is not acceptable, and it has to fall on the manager's shoulders when we concede goals from crosses all the time, when we concede goals from not picking up midfield runners all the time, and we concede goals at the start of the second half all the time. As a manager, that makes you look weak. All those things make you look weak because they're things that you control. It is bloody disgusting how bad we are at set pieces, offensively and defensively. And that's something you should be working on the training ground, but it's been going on for years. It was a problem under Ollie. And I'm wide awake now to the fact that this club is sick. It's sick and ill. But it's been like this for years. It's not actually Ten Hag's fault. And it's not Ollie's fault. And it's not Rangnick's fault. It's the same old problems. We can't score from set pieces. We don't pick up the runners. We don't start halves well. Under Van Gaal, I think we got called 0-0 at half-time, team. Like, it's been going on for years and years and years and years. And what amazes me, and this is Sir Jim Radcliffe's opportunity, is that as fans, we know that this football team is sick and ill. But certain people in the football club seem to revel in the fact that we're sick and ill and don't want to do anything about it. In fact, they seem to enjoy the fact that the club is sick. You'd probably bring them a box of Lemsip and they'd whack one out. They'd be so excited about the prospect of something that you get when you're sick. It's ridiculous. This is what Ineos have got to change. I know what needs to be done. You know what needs to be done. But it's incredible how we keep dropping points and dropping goals into the back of the net from the same things. Most managers, if you come out in the second half and you concede a goal, would sort that out after the first time it happened, and it won't happen again. Most managers, when you're conceding goals from crosses, would sort that out and it wouldn't happen again. Most managers, when you're conceding goals from midfield runners, would sort that out and it wouldn't happen again. But this was happening under Ollie. This was happening under Rangnick, and it's happening under Ten Hag. People will be screaming, well, why is it happening then? It's surely the manager's fault. But why didn't Ollie stop it? Why didn't Rangnick stop it? Why didn't Ten Hag stop it? And there's your answer. It's got nothing to do with coaches not telling the players not to do it. It's got everything to do with players not having the mental intelligence to stop it. You're telling me that Ollie didn't say mark your men on crosses. You're telling me that Rangnick didn't say pick up the midfield runners. You're telling me that Ten Hag doesn't say switch on at the start of the second half. They've all done it, but the players still don't do it. The clue is there. You've got to get ruthless. And that's why when I said this morning, removing someone like Jadon Sancho and people moaning about it, there needs to be a lot more removal of players at Manchester United. So Jim needs to take a serious look at the set-piece coach. There's a lot more than that, AJ. Andy Weatherall's gifted a membership. Why wait for a 300k winger to learn to play the game, says GP. Thank you very much. Eric Ten Hag made a game-winning sub. Scott couldn't finish a chance that comes from Eric wanting to overload the box. Went exactly as he preempted it would, says Menchild. I think you're stretching there. I think you're stretching to say that Ten Hag's plan was for Scott McTominay to score a late winner. Man of the match for me is Rasmus, and 77% of you agree. Make sure you smash a like on the video for Rasmus there. We're going to go over to the fan forum now, but let's not forget that Rasmus had one shot on goal. No service again. No service again for Rasmus Højlund, and he got a goal in the first few minutes, but nothing came after that, as we know. We're going to go over to the fan forum. There are lots to talk about. I think Ricky's on there as well. It'll be very interesting to see what he's got to say. Take care, everyone. Thanks everyone who's tuned in today, and let's see what they're saying on the fan forum.